All right, here we go.
What's up, Cole? We got you on here, man, from SoCal in San Diego. How are you doing today, man?
Doing good, fellas. Doing good. Thanks for having me on. Forward to it.
Dude, for sure. I love that RGB in the back. I love that.
What?
The lights, the RGB.
Yeah, dude. Just slowly coming together. Still.
Got a little fantasy of an RGB fantasy.
I know, it's a crazy thing. So, Cole, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah. So I got into this is a real estate podcast. So I got into real estate when I was 18. I went down to play basketball in college at a school in LA, and I'd gone down there. I'd done running start in high school, which for you guys listening, running start's essentially they don't have it in every state, but it's where you take your junior and senior year of high school when you do classes on a college campus. You get a bunch of credits. So I went into college with 2 years done. Didn't have to live in a dorm. Got to skip all that. Lived with a buddy, and I was there in business class, and I was like, man, this is just. I love playing basketball, but I can't sit here any longer. I had that entrepreneurial itch. I wanted to go try it. And so I thought I made myself a deal. I said, since I already have 2 years done of college, I'm going to give myself 2 years to try to figure this thing out. And if I can't figure it out in 2 years, then A, I'm going to go back to school and still be in the same grade as my peers, or B, it's going to work out. And I'm going to keep rolling with it from there. So my first step was getting licensed. So that summer after my first year down there, I got licensed and in the state of Washington as a realtor. And I hated being a realtor. I was probably the worst realtor of all time. Sitting open houses and showing houses and all the shit that goes with that. It was just not fun. I hated it. Wasn't good at it. Didn't really put an effort in it. But I bounced around to 3, 4, or 5 brokerages. And finally, like the 5th brokerage I was at, they had another arm of their company where they were doing auctions. So they were bringing in investors every single midweek. I think it was like Wednesday night. Every single Wednesday night, they'd bring in like 100 investors into their office, and I'd sit in on these meetings, and they'd kind of pre-sell them auction properties for the week, and they'd build in their fee. So they'd kind of know what's coming to auction that week, and they'd have them bid on it beforehand and take checks for their buyers to the auction and make their $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 fees. And I was like, that's an interesting concept. A lot of these guys are just sitting behind their computer, and that's kind of my skill set. I'm a systems marketing behind the scenes guy. I'm not on the phones. I do quite a bit of social media and events and stuff, but for the most part, I'm pretty introverted. And so I love that. And the next day, I was at Applebee's eating a 2 for $20 with a buddy, and we were sitting at dinner, and something on my Instagram pops up. It was this guy, local guy who's young, 2 years older than me. I was 19, he was 21. Pops up, it's 40. He was on his Instagram like, look at this $40,000 wholesale assignment fee, blah blah. And I'm like, well, if that guy can do it, I can probably figure it out. So
what year was this, Cole?
Let's see, I'm 24 now, so that was about 5 years ago. That was probably 2017.
Gotcha.
End of 2017, the winter, right? But like October to November, December. And so we got after it right away. The next day, I was living at home at the time. My parents had this kind of attic room. So me and my buddy Paul, who was my old business partner, we sat up there and dialed the phone ourselves off a Google sheet, highlighting leads green who were interested, red who were not, yellow who were maybe. And we grinded in there till we got our first deal. Took a couple months, and that first deal was $105,000. That was my I'm not going back to school moment. And from there, obviously you go through the normal entrepreneurial struggle of, okay, how do I make this consistent, and how do I systematize this? And from there, all the struggles and fun began. But that was my intro and kind of my path in to learn about the off market game, and really a big part of where I am right now.
So where'd you learn? So you said you saw someone that's 21. Is that person still in business?
I'm not sure. I don't talk to them too much. I'm sure they're still doing deals in Washington here and there.
Gotcha.
I didn't learn from them. I just saw them post a check, and then from there, I
YouTube
a lot. Yeah, I mean, I had some real estate background. I was licensed, so I understood the terminology. Yeah. So I bought some courses. I went to an event or two, and learned about cold calling. Hired a virtual assistant in the Philippines to cold call like everyone else does, with roosters in their background, and slowly just stacked a deal upon a deal and kept paying for more mentorship and coaching. And then I would say it took us year and a half to get real traction, which I consider consistent deal flow every month to month. But yeah, that was how I got started. The same old place everyone else does: YouTube, university, podcasts, and going to events. Yeah,
So that's 2017. So can you give us a little bit of what you're doing now as a whole, just so everyone can kind of understand where you've gone? And so
absolutely. So in 2017, I started a business and ran that for about 2 years with a partner. We split in 2019. So 2019 to now, our top sales guy, who's now became my partner. So he runs our whole sales team. So now we're running an off-market real estate shop in Washington. We normally will do 8 to 12 deals a month. So we land right around 170, 200 deals a year in Washington. And that's a mix of flipping and wholesaling, but primarily wholesaling. And so we're on pace to do about 2.5 this year in revenue just on the wholesale side alone. Then flip on top of that, some other stuff we do as well. But that's our thing. We have, but virtual and in-house in that business, we have about 42 now employees across, virtual assistants combined with in-house people. And I do some other stuff as well. I own a call center with about 110 employees now. I'm a quarter owner of that out of Egypt.
Nice.
That's kind of my two main things.
What's
your wholesale to flip ratio?
I mean, we only flip super easy stuff. So Washington's brutal on permitting and everything. So if we can get in and out in 3 months, we'll flip it if it's super easy.
Spokane?
No, this is more west. We do a lot of wholesaling in Spokane, but this is more west side stuff. So we're in the main Seattle 3 counties, which is Snohomish, Pierce, and King, where we're touching stuff. Yeah. Otherwise, we just honestly hate flipping. Yeah, I like wholesaling. There's no risk, and it's super scalable. And every time I call one of my buddies, it's a volume flipper. They seem to hate their life.
Yeah.
That's a fact. They're always stressed out every time I talk to them.
Realtors and flippers always stressed out. The only people I ever meet that are really happy with their business and real estate are people who run like at scale wholesale operations where they truly have a team and infrastructure. And that's fun to me. I like the team building side more than I like the in terms of internal team rather than finding contractors and doing that whole dance. That's not very enticing to me.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree with you for sure.
I like that. So you said you got a call center. You said you run some events and stuff too, I think. Do you have like an education side or stuff and something over there?
Yeah. So that kind of came about just guys in my market. Like I never wanted to be an educator. It didn't interest me. All the people I'd met that were in the education space had kind of done it because they needed a revenue stream because their business wasn't producing revenue. So they understood the concepts and they could share the concepts with people. So I never wanted to do that. That kind of came about. A couple guys in my market kind of came to us, said, "Hey, we want to learn what you guys do." So we threw out a number like, pay us this and we'll show you. Come to our office. And then from there, I found out I loved it. So I love working with newer wholesalers and investors on that. So yeah, we do quite a bit. We do an in-person event every quarter or two. Probably skip one now because those events are very time consuming, but we like to do in-person events, just 20 to 40 people. We can get them in we do them at houses. So the last one was at a house, the movie theater. So we got everyone in the theater for 3 days and just jam-packed the full info. And then, the call center. So the call center I started 3 years ago, and then I've been adding on partners to scale it. And now we have clients just about in every state. We work with a lot of hedge funds, a lot of bigger clients who are 200, 300, 400 caller clients that are doing it at scale. So, and it helps too, because you can kind of see, I think we all get so stuck in our own world, the amount of clients we work with on that business, you can see how big this game can be taken. I mean, there's guys that are truly employing 400 cold callers for just their business. And all they're doing is off-market real estate. So that's been a cool kind of perspective shift to see where you can take this stuff. That's what I think the coolest thing about wholesaling is the barrier of entry is pretty low, but the ceiling is also like, it's insane. And most businesses, it's harder to break into. This business, you can really, I mean, I've seen it time and time again in our coaching group. I'm sure you guys have too as well, where someone comes their first month, they make a few cold calls, they get a $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 check. It's an insane business.
Sick, yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. I mean, that you got a $105K deal for your first deal. That's nuts. That's insane.
Yeah. I thought I was retired at that point. You're 18, 105 grand. And, we had some stuff come off the top of that, paying people out. But yeah, I thought I figured it out.
You landed on the moon, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I think one thing you mentioned right there is like you bought a bunch of education. Do you feel like that was like one of the big things that kind of like propelled you up pretty quick? Because obviously you've had a lot of success super fast at a young age.
Yeah, I think there's the quickest way. I mean, ultimately, I think if you have the skill set and you have the determination, you're going to get to the same point in this business, whether you figure it out on your own or you pay someone. It's just about skipping steps quicker. So that's what education has always been for me. Like a lot of people get to a certain point in their business too, and they'll say, "Hey, I do more revenue than that person. I'm not going to pay that person for education." But I mean, the way I look at it, we spend as much as we can on education, even if a company's smaller than us, because usually what got company A to $1 million, $2 million, $3 million in revenue is something different that they're good at than what we're good at. So like what got us to over $2 million in revenue is we just built a call center. We're really, really good at cold calling and running that funnel. So the more people we go and see, usually cold calling is not the thing that got them to $2 million business. Usually they're really, really good at sales training, which we are too now. They're really, really good at pay-per-click. They're really, really, there's some other aspect of their business that's gotten them to that point. I mean, we maximize education all we can. I did when I first got started, and we still do. We fly all over the country and meet people who are doing less, similar, and more revenue than us to just, meet more people, get more ideas, because a business is truly only as good as the ideas within it. So, and that usually caps out over and over again. So the more eyeballs I can get, even in other industries, it's really cool to go get other industries' perspectives on our business. And yeah, it's been the number one thing that's taken us to another level.
Yeah, I like that. I like the idea of like going just to, I think if you're familiar with Hermosi, I'm sure you probably watched some of his stuff on YouTube. He like talks about, he's like, paid this guy. Yeah, if you haven't, like, come on. But he paid this guy, like, just to learn how to do ads or whatever. He's like, I just want one-on-one training. He's like, this dude does less than me or whatever, but I just want to master it. I don't know. I think that's pretty smart.
The thing that really took me to the next level when I just turned 21. This is 3.5 years ago. And I was selling some deals off to a guy in our market named Taro, who's like runs big events. He just ran an event with Kiyosaki and Kim McElroy in Arizona with like 1,400 people. But he's a Washington-based guy. And I got to know him pretty well, became friends, and he calls me one day, and I didn't have a ton of money. I mean, for the first couple of years of my business, I was paying myself very minimally, trying to get it off the ground. And he called me, he goes, hey, I need you to send me 10 grand. And I was like, for what? He's like, well, Brandon Turner's throwing this mastermind in Hawaii, his first one ever, and I want you to come. And they were co-hosting it. And I was like, dude, at that time, 10 grand just for an event. That was before flights, before hotels, before food. That was a $20,000 trip. I probably had $40,000 in my name, and sold some Bitcoin probably at the time. I don't remember. Got the money, and I went, and I spent 50% of my net worth probably on that trip, and that I probably made on my $20,000 investment 100x return by the people I met and the concepts you learn by being around people who are at just a whole nother ball game than you. So that's what I tell people. They come to me and they're like, "Oh, your $200 a month program is so expensive, or your this is so expensive." I'm like, you guys got to think like I told them that story. Like I truly put half of all the money I had. That wasn't even a wholesaling focused event. That was just to get around ideas and
those
thoughts.
people. Yeah.
And how
Pineda was there, right? Who else was there?
Yeah, I met Pineda there. Yeah, before he was Pineda, right? When he was just in that meeting. You do an activity called a Vivid Vision, which is our event. It's still my favorite activity. And you sit there. We all sit in a room. We find different spots for 30 minutes. You write out. You write 3 years, 5 or 10 years in the future, but you write it like it's current. And his was all about my social media is this. I have this many followers, this many events, and dude, everything's came through from that. Same for what I was. Most people in that room. Brandon Turner now owns $680 million in assets for his open door capital fund. That didn't exist 3 years ago when we were doing those visions in Maui. So seeing that stuff, like that's the thing. That's the biggest way you scale this is conversation. That's why I think the podcast is so big, because you guys talk to people every week or however often you do it, and you get new ideas. So anyone that's listening, I would say, unless you're doing it and you have a couple million in the bank and you've really starting to figure it out. Other than that, you need to be spending money on learning from other people.
Even then, like, I guess it just depends on your goals too. It's like if your goal is $1 billion or 100 million, you only got $1 million in the bank, you're broke.
Yeah, it's facts. Yeah,
but dude, so at that event, like you're with Brandon Turner, a bunch of other pretty high players now. What were some of the things that were like that big like door that was opening for you, like the things with the dots connected?
I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, I think the number one way I looked at it is how I really started looking at my wholesaling company like a business. Because when you first get started, you do a couple of deals, you just get so caught up in the day-to-day of get a check, do more cold calling. You get so stuck in the business. And that's why most entrepreneurs never scale anything, because they get so stuck in the business. So it was really seeing how like these guys thought about business. Like they looked at my company, right? Because we did a hot seat. Looked at my company and said, "Here's what this can be." Right? There's a guy named Charles McKinney there who owns Certain Lending, and I had some dinners with him after that event. He was like, I think you realize this thing can be something where you take it and you get so good at property acquisition that you build a massive portfolio, and you sell it off to a Blackstone or a company like that. And there's guys that I've met since who have done that. So you just start thinking about what it can be, and these guys just think big and they operate quickly. So when they have an idea, they operate on it right away. And a lot of them fail, but the ones that go through, and that's why you see guys make progress so quickly. Obviously, as your team grows, it's easier to do that, but they have an idea. And the one thing I noticed about all those guys there that are worth tens of millions of dollars, when they have an idea, it's implemented right away. You know, like I was just in Cabo at another one of these things, and I was having breakfast with someone who is has done very well for himself, older guy, and I threw him an idea. He's like, maybe I can implement that. He calls while we're at breakfast. He calls his accountant, says, "Hey, I want to do this," and hangs up the phone. Like so, it's just that immediate action.
Yeah, massive action, quick.
Yeah, just right away, and you just don't second guess it. And a lot of it shits the bed, but that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Oh yeah, another thing too is like you brought up the fund idea. I think you mentioned that earlier. Like these big funds, they're 400 call centers and cold call. I was thinking about that the other day too. It's like, dude, that's like kind of the future, because like we're building the dispositions side out a lot more. Like we're adding on, several agents over there, or we have 2 right now, and we're looking at a 3rd one. Just kind of build that out as we slow down on the back end. But dude, there's so much capital raising opportunity on the back end with all these cash buyers, especially if they have their funds tied up and they don't want to put it in. Just thinking about, you could give them a pref and a fund and start buying a bunch of rentals. You know.
There's infinite ways to monetize the off-market real estate game, right? That's where I think people get in trouble too. Is there's so many little tracks to go down and golden objects to chase that it's like I've seen it so many times. Guys have a decent business, like, oh, I want to go do commercial, and they lose their main revenue stream, and they're like, oh, I want shit. So that's like our focus right now is to build this to before I even look at anything. I mean, of course, I want to build a massive portfolio. I want to do all that stuff. But like my main thing right now is how do we take HelloPad, which is our company, take it from 2.5 and 4x it? How do we become a $10 million off-market company? Like what does that need to look like? So that's been all my brain power goes there right now. I have some other projects like the call center, but that's really like before I touch anything else is how does this become? And I think to your point, it's on the disposition side, because you can turn marketing up, you can hire more sales guys. But I think as the market shifts, there's going to be a lot of downward pressure on buyers. Hedge funds are going to freeze. A lot of the wholesalers like us that are new in the game within the last 8-10 years, we're hedge fund babies. A lot of us, right? We the hedge fund money is free
fund babies, even if we don't want to admit it.
Yeah, the hedge fund babies. But yeah, I mean, we don't honestly in Washington is not that hedge fund rich, but markets like where you guys are, like we have a lot of students in Atlanta and Florida and Texas and Arizona. And I tell them over and over again, the same message. You guys got to beef up your dispo side and really become business operators and learn how to systemize and structure that, because as the market shifts, downward pressure on buyers, your fees are going to compress. You're going to have to do more volume, and your hedge funds aren't going to be there to save the day every time. So it's already happening. A lot of hedge funds 2 days before closing are coming to people in our groups, people I've talked to, saying, "Hey, I need 10 grand off this deal. Oh, my buy box has changed X amount of percent in the last week." So,
I think we haven't signed a deal with a hedge fund probably since they froze. I mean, like 4
Actually,
weeks.
we just sold one. I just signed it literally like right before this call with a hedge fund.
So one, but that's like one. We were doing like 80-90%. Now it's like 1 out of 15 or 20.
Yeah, that's how it goes. It's a dangerous. The hedge fund game I think everyone should take advantage of it when they're in a buying frenzy. I think they will continue to buy. It's just in these weird periods of no one knows where the market's going to land as they keep raising rates or where we're going to land rate wise. They kind of freeze up because they don't want to get caught with their pants down with a bunch of earnest money out. Because I know one builder in my market who's a big builder who they've walked away from like $1.5 million in earnest money in the last month. So tying up deals is risky because if you're a good wholesaler, you're putting non-contingent funds somewhere in your deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like even just like one like Tiber canceled 200 contracts, even if they put down $2,000 each. That's what, $400K, right?
Yeah,
to the math.
Good shit. Yeah.
That's better than the alternative.
Yeah, losing millions down the road. Yep. So yeah, that's what I think is the move, is beefing up dispo. Obviously, you keep training sales guys, beef up marketing. But I mean, we're doubling down on our marketing internally right now. We have 35 cold callers running every day. That's just
your best source. Cold calling?
For sure. Yeah, we get a 5.5x return on cold calling every single quarter, like clockwork. Yeah.
Nice.
What else do you do?
Go ahead.
We do pay-per-click. So we cover the whole state of Washington pay-per-click. So we spend 10 to 15 grand a month on pay-per-click. We spend 15 grand a month on TV ads in Washington. We do some mail, some very, very just targeted mail. I've never been a big mail guy. Very targeted probate, divorce, some stacked lists on mail. We do texting, but texting is kind of shit the bed for everyone. It's not a great thing to do right now, in my opinion. So those are our main ones: TV, pay-per-click, cold calling, and some very targeted mail. And then we're getting a lot of referral deals. We're starting to beef up our JV deal pipeline is getting pretty deep. So those are also great for us. But yeah, that's really our main.
I think there's a big opportunity on the JV side moving forward too.
Oh,
A lot of people, if you can
Brand.
front the buyers list, a lot of people aren't going to be able to sell their deals anymore because they don't have the funds or whatever. So I think it's a pretty big opportunity moving forward.
Yeah, if you can really set yourself apart in terms of how you run deals, then like that's what we're doing. So we'll take a deal, our transactions team will run it, and like essentially as it would be an in-house deal, but for them, and we try to make that experience super enjoyable so people keep coming back because it's free revenue.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So you said just since we're mainly focused on wholesale here, what's like a high level? You said you guys dialed in the cold call process. Like, is there like something you feel like you guys do differently that makes y'all more successful than most people?
We treat it like a business. Most people who do cold calling, they look at it like a marketing, like just marketing, but cold calling is really a marketing channel that has to be treated like its own business, right? You need managers for those callers, you need daily huddles for those callers, you need daily role play for those callers, you need quality assurance for those callers. So that's how we have it built out. We just have a really good infrastructure in our call center, and I kind of have the benefit of owning a call center, so I have more say in how that goes down. But that's the biggest thing, is just making sure they're not sitting at home with roosters in their background in the Philippines, that they're really good English speakers level. You hear a lot of level 10 English speakers, but really anything over like a level 6, no one will second guess if they're not in the States. I like Egypt. All of our callers are in Egypt. Our office is in Egypt. The Philippines doesn't convert it. We test it side by side right now. We have 10 callers Philippines, about 30 in Egypt, and we get about a 3.5x in the Philippines, about a 5.7x last quarter in Egypt. So substantially better in Egypt. And then it's every day training your cold callers like you would your sales guys, because they're the first touch for your company. It kind of sets the tone. So I think a lot of people just don't take it seriously, and that's what separates us for sure. That's the same thing with every marketing, right? Pay-per-click, anything you do in this business, if you treat it like its own arm of the business, it ends up doing a lot better.
Yeah, I like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
You use for cold calling, or use call tools with dialers? Or you guys using?
So in our call center, we use ZenCall, so it's ready mode now. I think
Gotcha.
they changed their name to ready mode. And then in-house, we do a mix. So we use some call tools in-house just because it has some integrations that ZenCall doesn't, for some smaller stuff, some more targeted stuff. But for the bulk of it, we're still on ZenCall in-house as well. It's the easiest to use, simplest. You don't really
used them a while ago.
What was that?
ZenCall, we used to use them a while ago, like when I first started, like 2018. Carlos and Sal were blasting them. All-in dialer.
All-in dialer, baby.
That's right.
$90 a seat. Yeah. I like ZenCall.
What'd you do for texting, Cole? You said that, what software did you use?
So we've tried them all. Again, all of them have gone to 10 DLC. So if you guys listening haven't read up on what 10 DLC is, it essentially makes you add an opt-in message, as well as some other, you have to have a company name in your text, a few other things to get it through the carrier. So we've always used Roar, because Roar has some cool API integrations into our CRM, as well as stuff we built out that funnel. But it's gotten complicated because even them, as of this week, they've integrated 10 DLC. So I'm not high on texting over the next 6-12 months, personally. I mean, we still do it, but I don't think it's going to be a significant portion of our revenue. But in 2020, texting was like 70% of our revenue.
Yeah. I think they definitely are compressing a little bit, like launch control is who we use. I was talking to our marketing director today, and she was like saying that they doubled the cost of, like, basically to send a text, and now it costs twice as much. Response rate's a little bit lower. Like, I think it's normally like 12, and now it's like 9.5. So I think they're kind of compressing a little bit, which this is like,
I like it.
Yeah, which my thought is like probably
SMS is 16x return for us this year off like 50K spend.
That's beautiful. Doesn't get better than that. And I think it does. I think SMS does crush it. Like, and a lot of market, like Atlanta's, it's not a low price point market, but it's a lot lower than Seattle and LA and San Diego. So it's like I found, because we do texting for clients in our call center. Texting works great if you're not in a coastal market where the price points are lower. I don't know what reason. Cold calling works better too that way. Cost per leads lower, cost per contracts lower, cost per deals lower.
Some of it's like the competition too. Like, usually like it makes up for on the deal size. Like we have a client in California, and like his deal size is like 35 grand.
Yeah, but it's 36,500.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a no brainer to spend $5 grand versus 2,500 for a deal, or whatever it is. Yeah. But my thought with texting is like it would probably compress to be similar cost per contract or cost per deal as like cold calling is, but
Yeah,
who
because
knows
what's our
what will
cost
happen
per
with
deal,
regulation.
Chandler? Since you run,
Dude, it was like $1,800, I think, cost per deal.
That's amazing.
Something
Yeah.
like
So
right
yeah,
around
even if
there.
it doubles 3,600, we're still, what's
Still
our average deal size?
pretty
30
pumped.
something
It's
K.
like TV. Like we do TV ads and it's like 7,500, $8,000. Or actually no, the cost per deal is probably like 9 or 10 grand.
Yeah,
TV
because
is
cost per
expensive.
contract is 7.
Yeah.
TV is expensive. Yeah, I think at SMS it'll be a little less return than cold calling just because there's a lot more regulation going. And people texting is very invasive for people. So all the rules that are passing in all the courts for all the cell carriers, they're very aggressive on text marketing. Cold calling, there's not a ton more they can do. And what's happened with cold calling is they input all this spam filtering, and people thought it was going to hurt cold call contact rates, but they've gone up. And the reason why is because now people are getting spam calls and they answer and it's their doctor or it's their lawyer or it's someone important because they're spamming everyone. So now actually you're starting to see across our call center spam calls are being answered almost more often than non-spam calls. And so our contact rates actually started to go up. So it's kind of done the opposite of what the carriers thought it was going to do. Because
kind of
I had it happen to me yesterday. We have a puppy and he just started doggy day camp and they called me and it said spam likely and I answer and it's them. I'm like, so you have to answer spam calls.
Yeah. Another thing too, it's kind of a running joke. It's like, let's answer the spam call and see what we can get, see what kind of fun we can have talking to this guy. Just, I know
it's a real thing.
It's kind of funny, but
yeah,
dude, that's what's up. So, so what do you think you're most excited? What are you most excited for moving forward?
I'm excited for the market to continually get harder, and everyone that hasn't put time, money, and energy into becoming an actual operator, and everyone that's kind of snuck by because how easy it's been to sell deals. This is how everyone sold the deal in the last 4 years. They get a deal under contract, they go in the MLS or however they're going to comp prop stream, they find the highest sold house, and that within a half mile in the last 180 days, and that's their comp, right? And that you can't sneak by anymore. We underwrite on actives and pendings right now, and latest 30 days prior sold. That's it. And so I think a lot of the lazy wholesalers, a lot of the wholesalers are sneaking by, still doing 4, 5, 6, 700 grand a year, but haven't actually put the time to become real operators, real business owners. They're going to get smoked out, and that's what I'm looking forward to that because our deal volume is going up right now. We're putting more into marketing, we're hiring more, and we're just the part you have to just for us we're keeping an eye on is making sure that we have our dispo side beefed up because I think assignment fee sizes are going to compress probably 25%, 30%, but there's going to be more of them. So those are my thoughts. I mean, no one knows what's really going to happen with the market. We're in unprecedented times. I'm not going to try to guess. I don't think anyone has any idea. But I do think that there's a hell of an opportunity for anyone that's really taken this seriously and built their real business.
I think what you're saying is like literally spot on. Like fees are compressing. It's getting harder to sell deals. We're getting more. And also like the big gem right there is underwriting on actives and pendings and maybe max sold 30 days ago. That's what's up to date. Other than that, it's like, who knows what the heck, can you take off 20%, take off 10, 5, is it the same? It's almost impossible to tell. So
the one thing that I've always preached is also like your reputation is everything. And in this game, especially, I mean, real estate's a small world, especially in localized markets like Atlanta. All the big players know each other for the most part, know of each other. So when you start underwriting deals and sending out deals, as the market shifts, what tends to happen? It definitely happens in our market. If you send out a number on a 180-day comp 6 months ago, the market shifted so dramatically, especially in Washington. There's areas that were selling for 1.6 4 months ago. They're selling for 1.1. It's just there's an insane adjustment in some parts, and you ruin your reputation really quickly. People don't open your deals. And I also say right now, don't use big MailChimp blasts or big, InvestorLift's a big thing. I love InvestorLift. I love Robert, but don't blast out your deals as much through that platform right now. And the reason being is because you want the personalized touch. Personalized exclusive touches right now is what sells deals. As well as correct underwriting. So nice package, correct underwriting, and exclusivity sells deals. Like we're picking up the phone and calling buyers or texting them individually. We're not doing bulk email blasts because we want people to feel like our script right now for our dispo team is, hey, Mr. Buyer, we have this deal in your area. We database our buyers based on area pretty specifically. So we have this deal in your area. We already underwrote an extra 5% cash on cash return because of the market. Usually we're at a 15% cash on cash. Now we're at a 20. So we've taken that into account. This is exclusive. You're the first person seeing it. And that's how we're moving deals super quick. Is that exclusive, personalized? No one's seen this deal. No one's touched this. Because when you slut your deal all over town on MailChimp, and then it finally gets to a real buyer with the 3,000th person that's seen it, it's a bad way to do business right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that. So like, are you for like I'm getting a little bit more technical, but are you guys trying to get as many people out to the property as possible, or are you kind of keeping it targeted sniper approach and just like getting someone, who's gonna close? And
I'm gonna be very honest. It's hard right now, right? Our goal is to get at least, we set the expectation with sellers. Our sales team does always. We don't know exactly how many people are going to have to come through. It depends on a lot of factors, but we're going to do our best to limit it. Okay. We just had a house with like 12 walkthroughs. I mean, as good as we are, I think on the dispo side, it's getting hard. People are walking houses, and the next day waking up and seeing a new active comp that throws off their number, and they're stepping away from $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 earnest money. So it's hard, but I mean, yeah, hopefully we're 4 under walkthroughs. We don't do open houses. I don't like it. Our whole thing for our buy rates is it's exclusive. You're working with us because you're going to tell us what you want. We're going to get it to you. And obviously we still want to maximize profit. So we still have a couple of tactical things we do to get them bidded up a little bit. We don't bid them against each other though. So yeah, we try to limit it to 3 or 4 max, but shit happens, and it is getting harder to sell deals. That's the reality of the business right now. We just say that, we tell it to our sellers, say, hey, our partners are getting in this house. We don't lie to them. We say, hey, this doesn't work we're not taking this down ourselves. One of our partners is, but the market's funky. So we might have to get 10 people through. And usually that's better. As long as we communicate well, we don't tend to have problems. We do have guys that are like, we just had this guy, we calmed him now, but our transactions coordinator, one of our transaction coordinators, like, in our team meetings, like, he's getting cussed at. But I'm like, dude, it's just all you can do is relay the facts, and you can control what you can control. And right now, none of us can control the market.
Yeah, dude, I love that. You boys are all doing the same stuff we're working on too. I like it. It's definitely hard. Another thing we're doing too is we're calling all the agents nearby who have pending properties or who just sold, calling, find out who else offered on the property and trying to move it that way. So we just started doing that like a week ago. So far we haven't sold our first.
Yeah, that way you have active retail investors.
Yeah,
that's a big thing. Yeah, that's it's so funny to me too. Everyone's screaming about novations from the rooftops of every building across the country. I don't know if you guys have seen that. That's the new thing.
Yeah, I've seen Eric been blowing up on it.
Yeah, Eric loves that.
To novate everything. I think it's just funny, dude. When the market gets hard, people preach new stuff, but I think it's the same thing of, you got to get better at negotiating, you got to get better at educating sellers, and you got to get better at selling deals. It's whether you're going to novate or do sub 2 or wholesale deal or buy it, whatever it is, it's the same concept.
Yeah.
I think sub 2 deals are harder to negotiate than just a straight wholesale deal, in my opinion.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
But say it again.
I think sub 2 deals are harder to negotiate, at least in our market. They're harder to negotiate than just normal wholesale deals are.
Well, sub 2, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Sub 2 is like, unless you're Pace Morby, you can convince the seller to do that. I don't know how else do you do it. And I'm just kidding. I've done multiple of them, but not like you said, it's definitely way harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another place too, I was thinking about, just to get some more landlords, potentially people who have some cash you might have sold, just like property managers going to there, just trying to get our feet dirty, and then loan officers too, to getting pre-approvals, find some conventional buyers. So maybe people will buy as much as hedge funds used to. So
yeah, I mean, we just database for us. We just database as many people as we can. So we just have we go and we'll go to list source, and you buy anyone that's bought cash we go back a few years, and we'll just skip trace all of them, every single one, and we just have an American-based person that's just databasing. And then, the people you got to start taking dispo seriously. Like, we're going to start sending birthday cards to our buyers, like really treat them like they're real clients, because so many of us have gotten away so many years with treating them like shit. To be honest, we sell them a deal and say, hey, good luck.
Forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it. Right. So, I think that's our angle, at least. But I'm excited, man. I think I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be challenging, but I think it's going to be fun. And I think all the companies that come out the other side is when the market does turn back, and or at least flat lines, that they're going to be in a really good spot.
Love it. I love it. Gino, you got any questions?
I mean, my big one here, and I'm looking here, is, I guess, you already told us what you're going to do in the future. Are you looking more wholesale? You're going to stay more wholesale, right?
Yeah. We want to take it to We want to be a $10 million a year, just pure wholesale operation, helping on
Gotcha.
the West Coast, and then either grow from there. That probably at that point we'll start doing some value add stuff on multifamily, commercial, that kind of stuff. So it's but yeah, that's my main focus right now, is taking it to that level, and it's fun, man. Yeah, it's a fun business, it's challenging, but I think that's why it's the Guru Central, right? Because the barrier to entry is you start cold calling yourself, you can get deals done.
So what's your business look like? I know you got 40 people, but do you have a partner? Do you sound like you do a lot of COO stuff. So I know that's what you said you like doing.
Yeah, so I have a full-time. So we have a full-time COO on salary. So he's he's taking my ideas, he's turning them into reality, implementing them. That was my job for a long time. So I do speak that language in terms of development and software and all that kind of stuff. But that's his new job over the last few months. And then we have a TC team. So we have 2 full-time TCs that are running all of our files. Our dispo team has 3 full-time people. These are all stateside employees that I'm listing off right now. And then we have a sales team of 5, and then we have 4 virtual lead managers, follow-up managers. We don't keep those in the States. Those are usually in Egypt in our call center. And that's just our core team. And then we have 30 cold callers, usually hover between 25 and 40 cold callers with the pay-per-click guy. He's in-house. And then we have a couple admin virtual assistants that run our texting and stuff. There's probably 5 of those.
Nice.
I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
Nice. So we got Ben has a question over here in chat. Cole, do you have a podcast or any other content?
Not at the moment. That's why I actually just got a studio set up. So I'm gonna be releasing some stuff soon. I do have some stuff on TikTok. We have a free group. We have a free course. We have $200 a month group where we have like 200 people in there. So we have some stuff we do, but as of right now, I do not have a podcast. No, I don't have the patience like these 2 guys do to put on a podcast every week.
Respect that. And then he has one more too. How do you build your buyers list?
So when I guess there's different ways to answer this question. There's when you first start, right? When I first started, it was going to networking events. I was going on, most markets have their local Facebook investing group, and then it's going on the nationwide ones, the Sub 2 group, the Astro Flipping group, going on the Wholesale Houses Elite group, and pulling buyers off there, starting to network that way. And then there's websites you can buy buyers lists and agent lists, like there's Cash Buyers Plus where you can buy agent list. And that was how I did it to get going. But realistically, man, what I did to get going, I found the couple top players in my market who had at scale operations, and I sold a lot of deals through them when I was first getting going, because I wanted to worry about getting more deals. I didn't want to worry about selling deals as much at the time, because the delta in our average deal size is 40 grand at the time. So we might lose 5-10 grand by selling it through someone. But we got that back in more contract volume. So that's if you're a beginner. As you get more advanced, there's more software you can buy. There's Investor Lift. We're a cartel member on that, so that opens up every buyer in the country pretty much. And then we do a lot of databasing. So we're calling cash buyers all over our state and our markets, and databasing them based on asset type, price point, exit strategy, demographics, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like it.
Nice.
I like it. So, Cole, what is your you have a little, you said you have the $200 a month group. Is that mainly for beginner type people? Like, what is that?
It's a mix. It's just for people who want a community and that want to, I mean, we have a big library of them. So when they sign up, they get a library of every recording call. We do a call once a week for that group. So every recorded call, a free course, a bunch of free trainings, a Telegram group where they can ask me and Mike questions. Mike's my business partner who runs our sales team. And yeah, it's just a community where people can ask questions and get help and feedback. And it's a pretty cool group of the guys that are all over the country that someone can bring an idea or a thought or a struggle, and 20 people can chime in and go back and forth. So it's been fun for sure. But yeah, that's probably the best way to get connected with us for sure, is like we don't do a ton of other stuff besides our free stuff and then that one.
Yeah, I like it. Because I think because we got connected through Andrew Schultz. So yep. Are you working with him?
Yeah, we have a couple projects going with him that I'm excited that'll be coming out in the next month or two probably.
Heck yeah.
He's a good guy. You guys work with him as well?
Is it Cole Ruud-Johnson, the guru, or is it going to be
Cole Ruud? Yeah, it's Cole Ruud-Johnson.
My bad.
No, not guru. I mean, we're coming out with a lot of just a way for people to access all of our stuff, right? Really, we have a lot of free stuff we're going to hand out. It's not really, it's more just building a brand. My goal of building a brand around our company isn't so we can sell courses. It's so every single person in the state of Washington to start knows who we are. So when they think of selling a house, they come to us. and people like that personal touch. So yeah, he's developing some pay-per-click landing pages for us. He's developing all my personal funnels and stuff for us as well for content related purposes. But yeah, I'm excited, man. It's fun to work with. You guys do stuff with him as well?
Yeah, we just signed up with him. I guess we had our intro call yesterday with him.
Getting everything set up. It's a long call.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Yeah, he's a cool guy to work with.
Yeah, I like Andrew. He's cool, dude.
He did Pineda right. He'll do us right. So Ben has another question. Ben's giving them all out today. Is anyone in that group doing agent outreach? I think he's talking about Collier Group.
So agent outreach, that's kind of the astro flipping model, right? Like where you're building your business on, making small fees on agents. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there is. It's not a strategy that we really teach. I mean, we definitely do it not on purpose at scale, but we definitely have agents that bring us deals and we cut them. We move them for them. But in terms of, I'm sure there's a lot of people doing that astro flipping model. But I don't recommend that really to people just starting out. I think the skills you need to learn to be in this business long term is negotiating and selling deals and learning how to market and negotiate. And I think before you jump onto that step, that's what I recommend at least is getting in the trenches. A lot of people jump to that model because it seems like less work. And to me, that's a slippery slope.
Yeah, I don't think it's less work. I think it just depends. Obviously, like you said, I do think I would not change the way I came into the business in terms of learning acquisitions and learning marketing and sales, because that's what every business you ever create is marketing and sales. And so not that you can't do marketing sales via the co-wholesaling or astro flipping, but it's definitely a different way to enter.
Yeah, I agree 100%. There's no right or wrong. Whatever works for everyone has their own lane to go down. It just wasn't. I don't know. I like the action of it. I like a sales team. It's just everyone has their own preference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like it. So
what's your guys' goal for your stuff?
For which stuff?
Your real estate company.
Yeah. So the goal this year is the goal is to do 4 million plus. We'll probably land in between 4 and 5, probably around 4.5 if we execute our plans and we're able to push this market through. And then other than that, that's really the main thing. Our goal is 3 years to be doing $1 million a month. Well, 2023 to do $1 million a month, so 12 mil. Just looks cool. And then probably, around that side of starting the fund and doing some other things and branching off into multifamily, kind of like what you're talking about.
So what Chandler's saying is not probably, that is the plan.
I always see Gino
bullshit in it. He's just like saying, I think, and there's probably no, it is the plan.
Dino always roasts me for this because I always be like, I think this is probably. I speak in like that's just part of my language for
theoreticals. Theoreticals. Yeah.
I'm a theory guy, dude. I love that stuff. I get off of that.
Yeah, I feel that for sure. Yeah, one of my partners in my call center, we were on our call today, and same thing. He was like, "Yeah, I might one day be able to think about maybe doing this."
That's me right there. That's my talk track. But obviously, awesome. For me, it's like,
I think that's kind of every wholesaler's right kind of game plan is systematize it. The big thing for me in wholesaling business is I always look at profit margin. So we got this business to an insane point at one point. Like this is last year, we're doing like $500K plus a month. And it just the profit margin was shit. So we were like, why have all this infrastructure to make what we're making? So right now we run at about 60% profit margin, and
that's real good.
Yeah, that's where we want to be. Like otherwise it gets not fun. It's only fun, like you said, because it sounds cool. It's only fun and cool if you get to that point and you're making a shit ton of money and your life's not hell.
Yeah, you got to get there first.
Yeah,
you got to get that infrastructure, that leadership team built in place, and your life's way better.
100%, man. Yeah, I think that's everyone's goal. That's definitely my goal.
Other than that, we got our education company that we just target people who are doing like 1 to 3 deals a month, and help them scale up to hopefully 6 figures a month. The goal is to get 100 people up to 7 figures, 6 figures a month on that 7-figure run rate, and then just kind of keep going with that. Start a mastermind, have a mastermind on the back end, and just give back on that side.
The Ryan Pineda Classic.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
all the people ahead of us.
Yeah.
That's right. You don't need to carve your own trail. Just follow other people who have done it first.
100%. Yeah. Everyone's. What do you think you guys specialize in? Like for us, like me and Mike kind of. So Mike's definitely a sales guy, where he's one of the best sales guys I've met, and I'm more I teach systems, operations, marketing, that kind of stuff. How do you guys divvy up the roles in your company?
And I would be like you, Cole. Yeah. I would be like you.
Okay.
And then Gino would be like Mike.
Your partner.
Gino is the cold-blooded closer.
So is he
Closing
running Dispo and acquisitions, or are you running Dispo?
No. Chandler's running. He's a director of Dispo just in the last 2 weeks, but
yeah. So
we have
I do
another
Dispo right now. Gino does acquisitions. I do COO. He does CEO.
That's the same setup we have. Yeah, it seems to work well.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But we're wrapping up here. Cole, what would you want to leave the listeners with? You know, they're watching now or going to be watching the recording. Like, what's one thing you want to leave them with?
Just if you guys are getting into this, aim big and treat it like a business, and don't get golden objects, shiny object syndrome, whatever people call it. I would say stick with what you want to do and don't get distracted. And it's possible. These guys are have a hell of a business. A lot of people have really cool businesses, and they all started from the same place. And honestly, most days suck for everyone. It's just getting up and doing it again. So that's it, man. It's most like 80% of the time, everyone you see on these podcasts and stuff, the only reason they know what they're talking about is because they've screwed up a lot of times. So that's really it. Don't get distracted. Keep your head down, and stay with it.
I love it. Cole, where can they find you?
Mostly Instagram. It's Cole Ruud-Johnson. Just my name, no dash. Same for TikTok. And I'm going to start putting out more stuff here soon. But I'm really responsive to DMs. And if you want to come find us in any of our coaching groups, that can all be found. If you just go to ColeRuud-Johnson.com, you can connect it with our onboarding manager for all of our groups. And I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thanks,
Look
bro.
forward to meeting in person sometime.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
That'd be awesome. Thanks, guys.